Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. You're watching In Deep on the Delta. Today I'm out here to do a short video, and I just wanted to let you in on one of the things that I will do from time to time out here in midsummer. It's a Wednesday. You guys know I do the report on Thursdays. Generally I'm out here Wednesday filming the report. I've been fishing all week. I've been north to south, east to west. I've been making long runs. Today I wanted to do just a half day or so, come out, film the report, do a little fishing, and then go home. So what I'm going to do today is not make the long run. I'm going to stay within a mile of my launch, and I'm going to fish some of these areas that may be holding some fish. Now this particular little island, and again, it's no secret island, it's maybe a mile or a mile and a half from Paradise Point. I haven't seen a lot of guys in here. The reason I'm going to be fishing this is because the water is up to about 77 degrees. I'm seeing a lot of shade and I'm seeing a lot of docks. So those are two things that I really concentrate on in the summer. I don't know if I'm going to catch any fish, but I'm going to fish these areas and I'll talk to you about what I'm doing and what I'm thinking, because I know whether I catch fish here today or maybe a little later in the summer, this type of stuff behind me is going to pay off, and it gets overlooked by a lot of folks. So I'll keep the camera rolling, and I'll show you guys the highlights of the next half an hour, 45 minutes. Maybe I'll catch a few fish, maybe I won't. I'm pulling into this first little area in here, and it's shaded. I know this is probably a lot of grass in here, but there's probably 2 or 3 feet of water. There's a lot of vegetation. I'm going to throw a topwater around in there just to see if I can get something to pick it up. Okay, I threw 3 or 4 fan cast around in the shade with a bubble walker. It's a small topwater popper style, just to see if I can get a rise. I didn't get a rise. I'm not going to sit in here and throw this thing 25 times. If they're on it, I would have got a fish. So I'm going to put on a worm, and I'm going to really concentrate on fishing around these docks, under the docks, real close, just to see if there's something holding under the docks. I'm going with the standard green pumpkin 6-inch or 5.5-inch cut tail worm, Yamamoto. Generally, if there's a fish in here, whether it's a pound or 5 pounds, they'll take this bait. Oh! Had my first bite. Oh. Hey, it's paid off. I caught my first fish out here. Woo! Man. All right, nice little 2-pound bluegill. Wow, I think that's a warmouth. Check this thing out. I don't know, this is an oddball little guy. I don't know what it is. It's weird. A couple pounds. Let's get out of here. You might see that I'm in here tight, and I've got the trolling motor on basically 1, trying not to create a whole lot of disturbance, and I'm hitting these areas at different angles. A lot of times there can be a big fish anywhere in here, and you can pick that fish off. This isn't probably a situation where you're going to win a tournament, but going through these docks like this, you can get a big fish, and it can pay off with lots of 1 to 3 pound fish for fun. So just remember, pull your boat in tight as long as it's safe. You got a few feet of water, and hit these docks from a different angle. Hit them quick, but try to be efficient. Nothing on that little inlet. I used about 5 minutes of my day to check it out real quick. I'm going to go to the next couple of inlets. I'm going to fish them the same way, see if I can pick up a fish. I'm coming into this next inlet here, and I'm going to start off fishing the edges of the shade. You have to remember, there's a lot of weed lines, there's dock lines, there's vegetation in there that are all creating edges. There's that shade that is coming out from the bank about 30 to 40 feet. That's another edge that fish can use, and it may be out in a little deeper water. So I'm going to throw a couple of casts just out. They may look like they're in open water, but I'm just fishing the edge of that shade. Right out about in there. The reason I'm doing that is because 15 or 20 feet off the bank in here, I know there's not big ledges that drop off into 2 to 5, 6 feet of water. They're very gradual ledges. But the edge of this shade is not only a shade edge, but instead of being maybe 1 or 2 feet of water, it may be in 3 or 4 feet of water. It's not a big drop off, but because there's two situations, the edges of the shade and also the depth of the water, it could hold the fish offshore a little bit. Here's a tip on throwing a bubble walker or a popper or something with treble hooks, something that's not a frog. Don't be afraid to throw out and use only 1/4 or 2 feet of your cast. Get it out there just in the right spot. All you need to do is land the bait and pop it a couple of times. If a fish doesn't hit it, well, then you got to jerk it back into the boat, clean off the vegetation and recast it. But don't be afraid to use a exposed treble hook bait where there's a lot of vegetation. You're not going to work it all the way in. All you need is a foot or two to work that bait. I'm going to leave that popper out there just to sit. I want to turn the camera around and show you guys a little something here. Take a look at this area right in here. Now, that could be an area to throw a frog in. It could be an area you're going to punch in. I don't know what the depth is. It's probably a foot, maybe a little more. That area may not be fishable, but I guarantee you, if I was out here fishing for my survival, or there were 2 people in the boat and we were fishing a tournament, somebody would be throwing a frog into that area and punching it. Let's take a look at this dock right here. A lot of times I won't go in and position the boat in this corner, although that corner is a really hot spot for me to try. But I'm seeing that post sitting, or excuse me, that piling that's right over here. It's right next to the dock where the walkway is down. I've got some shade in there. That is a prime place to catch a big fish. It's offshore a little bit. There's vegetation over here. There's a piling, there's a dock. So this particular piling, I'm going to position my boat at the right angle so I can pitch this worm underneath the dock and see if I can catch a fish in there. I'm right up against that piling. Okay, I made 3 good casts in there. I got a good pitch up in there. I fished that piling. I fished the shade of the dock. I fished the hyacinth that's floating out there. I didn't get a bite. Doesn't always work, but you know what? I'm comfortable with doing that. I know that I covered that water. I'm not spending any more time here. We're going to the next little inlet. We're in another little inlet here. We've got some shade. I'm going to throw a topwater in there. Oh, there we go. All right, I picked up, I don't know, 1.25 pound fish in there. picked that one up on a bubble walker. All topwater fish are great. And again, came out of that little shade area. Let's take a look at this dock here. It's different than the last couple of docks we fished because there's not the big wood pilings. But look at the docks. You can pitch underneath them. So I'm gonna back off here a little bit because I want to pitch a worm and skip it under these docks to see. That time I got my boat too close to the dock at the wrong angle, so I got a couple of pitch casts in there, nothing happening. I'm gonna go around to the other side of the dock and try to hit it at a better angle. Oh! Oh! Another bite on a worm. Another small fish on a Cinco. Okay, a quick wrap up of what I just did today. I came out to, it wasn't an A spot, it wasn't a B spot, this is a C spot, but I wanted to try it out, and I tried it out during a really dead period of the day. The fish, you know, aren't on a big bite right now, so I came to a C spot to try it out. What was I looking for? Obviously, I would have loved to come out here and catch a 5 or 6 pound fish on camera. And be able to tell you guys, yeah, when I go out to my C and D and E and F spots, I look around, I always catch a 5 or 6 pound fish. That doesn't happen when you're prospecting out here. Most of the time, it's going to end up in little or nothing. You've got to prospect around to these places almost daily. Try it a couple of times a day, fishing a new area or fishing an area that you pass by or that you may not have fished before, and you don't know what's in there. You got to go into these spots and check out and see what's in there. But what did I learn from today? Number one, and what am I looking for? I'm looking for fishable water. I'm looking in an area like this that's not totally overgrown or has a bunch of witch's hair in it. I'm looking for some depth. I'm looking for fry this time of year. If I see fry in here, I know that there's bigger fish around. I'm looking for bait, whether it's bluegill or if I can find crawdads or frogs or whatever the bait is, I'm looking for there to be a bait source. And if I have deep fishable water, deep is relative again, it could be 2 to 4 feet of water. There's some good weed growth, there's some cover, there's docks, there's shade. I did find some fry in here, and there are bluegill. So this place has everything to support some big fish. Just because I didn't catch a big fish on this trip doesn't mean I'm not going to come back. Now, is this going to be the first spot I come to? No, but if I'm fishing out here one evening and I'm coming back in and I have 5 minutes or so, I know I want to come in here because I think there's going to be a big fish in here. Today, I just fished a bubble walker and I fished a 6-inch Cinco. I fished subtle baits, and I could have fished a fluke, I could have done a little punching, I could have thrown a frog, but today I just used a couple of quick baits and I ran through this area and I saw that there's fish in here, got a nice little topwater fish, and that was fun. But for most part, I just want to let you guys in on how I think and how I approach these areas. I spent about 20 minutes in here. I think I caught a couple small bass, had one good blow up, had a couple of subsurface bites that I didn't catch. So all in all, I got some information. And if I was fishing the rest of the day, 2 things that I learned: the fish were really in the shade, didn't catch one fish in the sun, and the worm bite, even though they were small fish, they did not take that bait on the fall. They took it while it was sitting there and it was motionless. So if I was going out fishing the rest of the day, I would put that information in the back of my mind and use that to the other spots when I went to the other spots I was fishing. I got some waves coming in, so I'm going to sign off real quick. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Watch the next video, and I hope to see you guys on the river. Again, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.